Hi, everyone. I think we are live inside of our group. I'm super excited today because we're talking here with Melanie Ledger. She is a member of LevelUp with ClickUp. And today we wanted to talk with you a little bit about the program. And Melanie is here to share some of her experiences inside of the program with the modules and the live trainings and all of that good stuff. So if you're here watching live, please go ahead and say hello. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on my phone if anyone's here. You guys are welcome as we're going through. This is just going to be a casual conversation. And Melanie, like I said, is going to share a little bit about her experience. I'll introduce you guys and everyone in just a second. But feel free to ask questions as we're going along. If you're considering joining the program, this is a really great opportunity to ask those questions. So feel free to drop them in the chat below. I do see that there are a few people live with us. Let me put that over here. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's dive in. So first and foremost, most of you, if not all of you, already know who I am, but I'll introduce myself. I am Jenna Paulo. I am a business operations and vetted ClickUp consultant, and I help my clients to essentially streamline their business utilizing ClickUp as their operational hub. And LevelUp with ClickUp is my training program that I offer. And Melanie here is a part of that program. And so I'm just going to briefly introduce Melanie and who she is, and then I'll let her take the floor. And I'm sure she can tell us a little bit more about herself as well. But Melanie has over 20 years of experience working with a wide variety of different industries, including construction industries, education, coaching, and she uses her marketing and project management skills to really help business owners achieve success by overcoming their current challenges, prioritizing business goals, and tracking those results. She runs her own business, which is an OBM business, online business management company. And her role as an OBM is truly to make sure that the right things are getting done at the right time in the right way by the right people, right? So that's really important to have someone like that inside of your business, making sure things get done when they're supposed to get done by the correct people, when they're supposed to be done, right? So it's a huge service that Melanie provides to her clients. And she is currently utilizing ClickUp to run her own business and helps her clients utilize ClickUp as well in their own business. And so Melanie, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, and why don't we start there?
All right, you did a pretty good introduction. There's not a lot more to know about me and what I do day to day, other than I have a background in marketing as well. So marketing, project management, and now moving into online business management. I've used a lot of different project management programs, and I happen to like ClickUp the best of all of them. So that's why I encourage my clients to use ClickUp if they aren't already. And I have switched over into my business to use ClickUp as well.
Awesome. So
with the help of the course specifically.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about the project management tools you were utilizing previous to ClickUp.
Yep. So I have used Asana, Monday.com, Basecamp. There's the other Notion. I've used, like I said, I've either myself in my business or working as an employee in other online-based businesses, or working with clients who use that in their business. So I've kind of gone through all of them, and I've never been as interested in the programs as I have with ClickUp, or been as excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different project management tools out there, right? So, yes. I went through the same thing as, trying out all of these different tools, and really landed in ClickUp and just never left, right? Because it does what we want it to do, right? And so let me ask you then, like, what was, when you saw LevelUp with ClickUp and started utilizing ClickUp, the tool itself, what sort of encouraged you, or what made you make the decision to join LevelUp initially?
Definitely the time. So I was taking way too long to set up my own space and get things done. I was trying to DIY everything by watching, YouTube videos if I needed something done, or they have a really good education training as well, but it wasn't a start to finish type training. So just the time, I didn't have the time to do that anymore. It'd been months. So the opportunity came up to take the program with you, and I jumped on board because I was like, hey, this is going to be it. I'm going to get it done and be good.
Yeah, and that seems to be like a common thread, I think, among a lot of people is they like the tool, they like what they see that it can do, but they just don't really have the time or the capacity to really learn it, right? And like take the
Yes.
time for like trial and error, right? I think
Yeah.
that's a huge piece.
Yes, definitely trial and error. I found as well, which we talked about in the course, is I did struggle a little bit at the beginning, switching from another project management software, the mindset to use those into ClickUp. And because ClickUp was so much simpler than the other platforms, I was still trying to overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely glad I took the program so that I could get the proper setup done in a timely manner.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It takes a while to really, get your feet wet, really understand the functionalities, especially when you're moving from another tool into ClickUp, right?
Mhm.
It's really helpful to sort of have someone guide you who's been there, who knows the best kind of setup, how you develop your hierarchy, that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, awesome. So then tell us a little bit more about kind of the level like your level of expertise going or level of knowledge, right? Like ClickUp knowledge. What was that like at the very beginning of the program? Would you say you're like a novice? Would you say, intermediate? Well, how would you kind of rate yourself there in terms of skill?
I thought I was sort of in the middle range, but then once we started diving deeper into some of the functionalities, I was like, oh, okay, so I guess I'm not as well versed as I had hoped I was in the program. So yeah, I had a basic understanding, but now that I'm about 99 or 95% through the course, I'm actually looking to do the certification with ClickUp at the end of the year, and taking the course with you has helped me gain the confidence to be able to do that so that I can better support my clients with their
Amazing.
setups.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. And tell us maybe for those of you who are not inside of the program or haven't experienced it, can you tell them a little bit about the modules and what you're learning inside of the program?
So the whole platform was really easy to navigate. The organization was done really well. It was from start to finish, basically all the basic tasks and setups were at the beginning. And then you work your way through everything with the video. The videos were super helpful because it was very hands-on, as you created your own workspace and then created everything we needed to learn how to use it for a sample business.
Right.
And then it went all the way up to the more complicated or advanced level automations and tasks. It was broken down by subject really well. So I was able to go back if I needed to rewatch something, or if I found that there was something that I didn't need to do right away, I could skip it, move on to something a little bit more ahead in the program, and then get back to it when I needed to. And then in terms of the one-on-one, or sorry, not one-on-one, the group support for the live Q&A, that was extremely helpful for me because I was able to ask questions with specific user case things that I was running into and listening to everybody else. So I mean, I was lucky I asked a question every chance I had, but if you don't necessarily for timing reasons, then everybody else's questions are extremely relevant as well, because you'll see that you're same level as them and you run into the same issues.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was good to know I wasn't alone.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think the live element to the program where you are able to come and get, questions answered and also very specific use cases, you have come to these calls with some very specific use cases, but
Yes.
it's very interesting that your specific use case can also apply to other people who are listening.
Yes.
right? And
Yep.
oh, well, I never thought to use it like this, or I never, so it is incredibly helpful to sort of get eyes in other people's workspaces, right? Because we are able to share, I have you guys share your screens
Yep.
and walk through those problems and anything you guys are running into. So it is really helpful to see inside of other people's workspaces and what they're.
Yes. For me as well, some of the other ladies were focused on different areas of their business, for example, like recruiting or an agency model or something of that nature. That's not what I'm doing immediately, but it's something that I'm going to be doing with my clients that come and go. So
Yeah.
it was good to get that information now and realize, okay, so I can do that and evolve with those functionalities.
Yeah.
And then one more thing I wanted to mention was the timing of the Q&A calls. It was spaced out perfectly. You know how some programs, they can be every week. They were spaced out perfect so that I had actually time to dive in, do the training, to be at a new stage where I could ask questions and get the support that I needed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I love that, and that's what it's about, right? It's, inside of this program, I don't want people to come into this program and, yes, you have lifetime access, right? You've got lifetime access to this program, but I don't want people coming in and thinking, okay, well, I've got lifetime access, I'll get to it, right? I want you to
Yes.
really take advantage of the opportunity to come to these live calls and ask questions, right? I want you to start the videos, start, pause, implement, start, pause,
Yep.
implement, right?
That's
Like
exactly what I did. Yep.
good. Yeah. And that's what I encourage, everybody inside of the program to do, because, I could talk, and I say this all the time, like I could talk to you all day until I'm blue in the face about ClickUp, but until you actually start to practice it and implement it, it doesn't really click, right?
Yes. Totally. For sure.
Awesome. Well, tell me, okay, so we talked a lot about, how I teach about a lot of the functionalities of ClickUp, which is a huge piece, right? We need to know how to utilize the different features and the different functionalities. But can you talk a little bit about how inside of the program, I talk a lot about business processes and how we can actually marry the ClickUp features to your actual business processes. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So like I said, I switched my own business over into ClickUp with the help of the training. And I love having, the hub, my business hub, where I can keep and store everything to do with my business, with external links to the Google Drive. The integrations that it has were perfect for what I need. I can, integrate with all the other software programs that I'm using to be all in one place.
Yeah.
I use it for client onboarding. So, from forms to fill out to make sure replicating the actual tasks has saved me a lot of time to not have to worry about doing everything one-on-one or one-off,
Yeah.
which was what I was doing in the past, even though I was doing a lot of repeated tasks. Let's see, I talked about the integrations already. What else?
Because in the program, the way that and you spoke a little bit to this earlier about how how the program is kind of broken down inside of the portal. So we've got a lot of videos and information on how we utilize the features, right? So that's kind of the first piece of the program. Then we really go into how we develop our headquarters, right? Like, what does it look like
Yep.
for your standard operating procedures to
Yes.
manage leads and sales? What does it look like to manage a team inside of ClickUp, to manage your clients? So we really dive into all of the different elements of the business, right? Of businesses. So we kind of take a look at it from sort of a bird's eye view, right? What are all of the departments inside of the business, and what does that actually look like in ClickUp, right? So
Yes.
we do talk through a lot of like, how do we do onboarding? What does that look like? How can that be, different for you and the other person, right? When we go into talking about, like, this is a good example, when I go into talking about developing client templates, like client project templates, right? I give several examples of how this could be set up for different types of businesses. So yeah, I mean, I think that, going through the program mostly in sequential order is actually pretty important and pretty helpful to sort of see the progression of like actually building out an entire business. inside of ClickUp. Would you agree?
Yes. Like I said, I was trying to DIY everything in the past, and I was sort of all over the place. I wasn't using, the tags or whatever the statuses correctly. But when I first was in there, it was a bit of a nightmare, but things definitely got simplified and organized and time savings when I finally, started getting in there and watching the videos and implementing everything.
Love that. So if you could share with everyone, what's maybe like one or two things that you've learned inside of the program thus far?
I know custom fields is one of your favorite things, and that honestly has been a lifesaver for me to use. Custom fields, make sure you use them if you're not already. Like I said, I had projects sort of tagged incorrectly instead of having a drop down by type of whatever it is. Just being able to organize so much easier with custom fields and have the views to be able to see the data and organize easier. It was worth it.
Yeah,
for sure.
good. Awesome. So if you could tell anyone considering joining the program, what is something that you would tell them?
That it's worth the investment. Don't waste any more time to trying to DIY yourself. As well, in terms of you as a teacher, Jenna, I just wanted to let everybody know that I mean, you have a background in adult education, and it shows. Your instructions were super clear. Your explanations were really well done. Like, I felt like you were sitting right beside me while I was going through everything, so that you were there answering my questions before I even asked the question with the walkthroughs. Let's see what else. Just don't waste any more time searching YouTube, and just take the course. It's worth the investment. And like you said, you have access to it. So if you ever needed to go back, or if you were interested in helping other people set up their space, then you as a client, then you can encourage them as well.
Yeah, you've got the resource there for sure. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I appreciate that. And, a big thing about the program too is that, once you're in the program, like you mentioned, like I mentioned, we've got it for life, right? So that means any updates that happen inside of the program, right? Any updates that happen inside of ClickUp, and I create new videos,
Yes.
these are all going right into your portal. So you'll have any updated information as it comes out. When new things are created, when we're learning to implement maybe even new features of ClickUp that come out as time goes by. So it's definitely I would say I agree with you that it's a great investment for sure.
Yes.
Great. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience here?
Nothing specific. I mean, I'm in your ClickUp group, so if anybody wants to ask a question, or if they're to me about my personal experience, feel free to PM me if you'd like. I can answer your other questions, or comment on this. I can keep an eye on it this evening and also reply from my own personal experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited about ClickUp, and ClickUp itself is at such a reasonable price for project management software that it is definitely worth investing in your business to have it.
Yes, I love that. And thank you for being available for others who are interested in maybe asking some more questions and things like that. So anyone listening, please take her up on that offer.
I thought of one more thing that was also valuable. I did get one of your background sound. I did get one of your templates for the social media, and that was a game changer. I completely forgot to mention it. The organization, it saved a lot of time because there are a lot of choices out there, and to be able to put that into ClickUp and to have, like I said, the whole business process all in one was fantastic.
Love it. Good.
So yeah, if you guys need extra help, check out Jenna's templates that she has, because they were very helpful.
They're on my website. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking time to share your experience with our community. And if those of you who are watching or catching the replay, feel free to drop any questions below, either for myself or for Melanie. I can always tag her in any questions that come through that she might be able to answer for you. But the wait list is open. So if you are currently on the wait list, you are able to enroll early. And if you enroll from the wait list, you are going to get an additional month of calls. So that's 2 additional calls if you join from the waitlist. So like Melanie said, those calls are incredibly valuable and really helpful for everyone who comes to those calls. So definitely take advantage if you're thinking about joining. And then it will be, if you're not on the waitlist, get on the wait list. I'm telling you, get on the wait list. But if you're not, it will become open to the public on the 10th for anyone to enroll. Okay. And you get automatic access as soon as you enroll in the program. So you can get started right away, which is incredible. And then just in terms of payment plans and things like that, because I know a lot of people ask about that, there is a few different payment plans. We've got pay in full, 2 payments, and then 3 payment options. I may open another payment option as well later down the line, but we'll see when we get there. But hopefully that's helpful to you. Hopefully this conversation has been helpful to everyone who wanted to learn a little bit more about the program. I will be going live again with another one of our members so we can get another perspective either later this week or sometime next week. So hopefully you guys can join us for that as well. Otherwise, if you have any questions, we are here. Let us know. All right. Thank you so much, Melanie. I appreciate you.
Of course.
Okay.
Bye, Jenna.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.